Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alexis with Logic Life and Love. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, be sure to hit that to show some support, not only for me, but so God's love and word can continue to be made known and continue to spread. Because that's what we do here. We talk about Jesus and we talk about Logic Life and Love. But I'm just going to go ahead and get in there today, guys. There was once a point in my life where I found myself getting upset and irritated about almost anything. Sometimes I didn't even know why I was mad. I was just annoyed, irritated, and bothered. Some days, I could be completely cool, and the next second I'll just be, have a whole attitude going on. Sometimes I didn't even know why, and I didn't really like that about myself, but I didn't want to do the work to change myself because that just seemed like too much work to do and too much to think about. I didn't have time to do all that. But the issue with that is I still considered myself to be a Christian, but my feelings, thoughts, and behaviors weren't demonstrating that. So therefore, I had to do a lot of inner work, which led me to do and becoming the woman I am today, which now, no matter how annoying, stressful, or irritating my environment or other people around me, especially my husband, I love him, but sometimes, he could get me mad at times. He's no longer able to get me angry, and it's been really great. And I've been able to share, some of my tips and some of the things I do with others, and they've been completely changed and affected as well. So today, I'm going to share 6 of my tips with you guys. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is really a no-brainer. It's really the foundation to everyday living and everyday life, which is having and seeking that relationship with God and seeking to please Him daily, which is, hard for a lot of people because that means you got to deny your flesh daily, and that's a hard thing for people to do because people like their sin. People like to do the things that they think make them happy, but there's even greater happiness with that relationship with God if you seek Him, because then He will reveal Himself to you, and He is love, and He is great, and He is happiness, and He is magnificent. He can open a wide range of doors that you can't even imagine, so seek that relationship with Him. So that's my first challenge for you guys. Be fully committed. Don't be lukewarm or trying to seek Him but still wanted to do things your way, because it's not going to work out. It doesn't work that way. You got to be fully committed to Him. And once you are, now that I'm here where I'm at, my life has forever been changed. So have that relationship with Him. So the second thing I want to share with you guys today is to take every thought captive. What does that mean? Well, Paul in 2 Corinthians says, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. So instead of letting our thoughts dictate our feelings and our actions, we can choose which thoughts we choose to focus on. And this includes taking an active role in choosing which thoughts we entertain. Understanding that, most thoughts that we have are dictated by past experiences and our inner critic. So the question I get a lot of the time is, how do we exactly take thoughts captive? What does that mean? Well, we do this by identifying triggers. One example of a trigger is, one night your husband, spouse, whoever comes home late and it doesn't bother you, but the next week he comes back at the same exact time and you found yourself getting upset about that. And you begin to think, what's your problem, or, better yet, why are you the problem, and, or you're in a situation where you wake up and, your leftover food is eaten, he got laundry laying all over the floor, dishes in the sink, you just washed all the dishes, you got clothes everywhere, the house is a mess, and your first instinct is to, what the heck are you doing? Clean up your mess, clean up this. But, when we focus on those infractions of, either being late or the mess, we fail to realize that it's really not the mess or the lateness that's the issue. It's the other things that are the issues, and those other things that I'm referring to are the triggers, and depending on your personality and depending on, what you're going through and where you're at, your triggers are different. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to talk about 3 triggers that I tend to see a lot. The trigger I see is the feeling of being overwhelmed, busy, and tired. I'll use that same example when, he comes home late. It's not necessarily him coming home late that's the issue. It's more of the underlining cause that caused you to feel anger because he came home late, which would be that overwhelming feeling of busy and tired. That same day that he came home late that you were mad, you had already, taken the kids to their various appointments, you ran them all across, town, done all the cooking, done all the cleaning, laundry, and all those other various things that women and moms do on a daily basis that cause you to react based off those feelings that you're having in anger because he came home late. So it wasn't necessarily, the lateness that was the issue. It was the feeling and the trigger of you being overwhelmed, busy, and tired that caused you to react and angry in that situation. So I challenge you to look at the last time you were angry. Was it really due to the situation, or was it the underlying trigger and the underlying feeling of being overwhelmed, busy, and tired that caused you to react in an angry way? So just becoming more aware of your thoughts and feelings, in high stress situations is the challenge that I have for you. A common trigger that I see a lot is feeling defensive. Maybe you're angry at yourself. You don't like how your life is going right now. You're not happy with, the housework that you have, not liking your current job. Maybe you feel like a bad parent. One of my clients, she feels like she is always angry and yelling at her kids, and she doesn't want to be that way. She doesn't want to always be like the yelling, angry, nagging wife and mom, but the house was usually messy, loud, and chaotic, and she found herself always, constantly being grumpy. And as we continue to talk, I shared with her that anger is usually a secondary emotion. We react in anger because we feel something else first. And when we feel that feeling and it's too difficult to deal with, we deflect it in anger. And in her case, she had a strong fear of failure. And she was afraid that she wasn't a good mom or housekeeper. She would tell herself these things, and then she would choose to believe them, which is where that inner critic comes into place at. When things around the house became out of order for her, she felt that fear was being justified. And to avoid that guilt altogether, she just reacted in anger because it's just psychologically easier. So I challenge you, ask yourself if you are trying too hard to be perfect. Do you have certain fears of failure? If so, commit to praying honestly and vulnerably about your fears. You can also choose to work with me, and I can provide other strategies to help you get through those situations and avoid projecting your anger on yourself onto other people. So that, and sometimes that can be hard to do. So sometimes you just need the extra guidance and extra strategies and extra support to help you overcome that hurdle. Third trigger I see a lot is the feeling of insecurity. Some people, have a lot of feelings and thoughts of, the other cheating, or you not being, happy with how you are in your life right now. And it causes you to react in a controlling and sometimes crazy way. And, I get it, but sometimes you just have to do a lot of self-reflecting and ask yourself, how do you truly feel about yourself? Do a complete self-scan of your inner making, your inner feelings, and your inner self. Get to know you. How does God feel about yourself? What can you do to make a mental shift from self-pity to self-love and acceptance and care for yourself? And then do those things. Once you choose to become more aware of what your triggers are, it makes it so much easier to take your thoughts captive, because now you understand where your thoughts and feelings are coming from. Now you can deliberately choose what to think in that moment and decide to think of something positive instead. All states, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, whatever is praiseworthy. Think about those things. The third thing you can do, and I want to share with you, is to catch your partner doing something good and then thank him for it. That is basically the same method I use when I'm teaching my parenting sessions, which is the importance of proactive teaching. When, children feel that they are being seen for what good they are doing, they are more likely to continue that behavior in the future. Same is true to men. Women, on the other hand, we're different. We're internal seeking. We generally, us two are just two different beings. Women want to be seen internally, and men, they want to be, respected. It's that whole love versus respect thing, which is a totally different video. But the more we look for the good, the better we learn how to avoid the negative, which in return shifts to getting mad. So I challenge you, at least once a day for the next couple weeks, just catch your partner doing something good and then thank him for it. You will begin to see what you should be looking for, which is the good. The fourth thing I want to share with you is choose not to criticize. Again, just pay attention to your thoughts and when he does something that could potentially be seen as an irritant to you, just pause, observe your thoughts, and then choose not to say anything. Repetition of this choice of silence will lead to a mental shift in what you're allowing yourself to think about. Since you're no longer able to say the negative things and only focus on the good and thanking him, you'll slowly start to realize that majority of the time when you were feeling irritated and or annoyed, it was because of your own needs, baggage, and selfishness. So once you learn, to shut your thoughts and your mouth up, and how you're affected in this whole pity party that your inner critic likes to play and throw at you, you'll realize that there's actually a lot of deeply embedded issues within yourself that you have yet to unfold and dismantle. A lot of people have them, they just don't want to, like I did. I didn't want to do the work to change it and to dive deep and do the inner work, because it is a lot of work. But once you're able to do that, you'll have a better view on how things really are and be able to, appropriately give feedback in a nice, pleasant voice tone and not explode in, these vague storms of emotions and frustrations. So I challenge you again, for 1 week, don't say anything critical or criticizing to or about your partner. And when you notice your thoughts are thinking negatively, shift them back to something positive. So the fifth thing I want to share with you is to believe in the best. The next question I get a lot of times, what if you're doing all those things? What if you're seeking God, you are taking your thoughts captive, you're saying all the nice things to him, you're not criticizing him, and he still, manages to upset you and get you mad. What then? At that point, when he does something that could be interpreted as something negative, you have two choices. The first one is to believe the interpretation that validates why you should get angry, which is the easy route. Or you can choose to be generous and believe the best, believe that what he's doing is not in direct reflection of how he feels about you. He still loves you. It's not necessarily saying anything about you or who you are. How he is acting is not, and reflecting about how you should feel about yourself. And I see a lot of, women get that kind of mixed up. So just believe, the best in the person you're with and think positively in that moment. So the next time, you feel yourself getting angry and you're doing all those other things, pause and ask God for generosity and patience to think positively in that moment, because the more understanding that you have in those situations and the patience that, God can provide you, the better you are able to overcome some of those hurdles that you're still struggling with. And then ask God to, cast down any embedded feelings within you that are bringing up negative thoughts, because those aren't of God. And ask that your life be filled with peace, joy, and happiness, because if you ask for it, he will give it to you. The sixth and final thing I have is let the small things go. If it's nothing that's going to end in a divorce, if it's not cheating or you're not being domestically assaulted, then let it go, because that's what the enemy comes to do. He comes to create division and separation, and it's so much easier just to be loving, kind, and show respect and, be a one. So if it's nothing critical, just let it go, man, and move on. So I hope this helps someone out there. But if you're looking for more options or have other situations that you would like guidance on, be sure to comment below or contact me through my website at logiclifeandlove.com and subscribe to my channel to stay connected. In the meantime, be blessed, guys.